The place that I go to, it's about an hour away from my house. And they're closed and I have to reschedule. I don't want to cry anymore. I'm tired of hurting. But this has affected so much of my mental health. And I don't want to be weak and cry about it, but sometimes I hold everything and this happens and I don't have anyone to really talk about it because I feel like I talk about it so much.
Do you guys remember this lady? Well, I'm trying not to laugh. This is her now.
It's been happening frequently at the 333 Miami Avenue Federal Court building. Janet Correa's husband was detained this week. According to her immigration lawyer, he has already been placed on expedite removal.
They voted por Donald Trump. Donald Trump deport. You heard that right, guys. Janet Correa, the famous Trump singing lady, has had her husband detained by ICE. And not only that, but he got put on expedited removal. They want him out of the US. They don't want him. But of course, we've been telling them this all along. They don't want you, bro. Also, do you remember the time I went viral because I told people to call ICE on Latinos for Trump and the family members of Latinos for Trump? It looks like it's happening, and I couldn't be happier. You reap what you sow, and I stand by what I say. But anyways, play silly games, get silly prizes. Let me know what you guys think.
Seen some video this weekend of Latinos who voted for Trump crying because now their abuelas and their tios are getting deported.
Right.
I'm having a very hard time mustering up any sympathy for those people.
Yeah.
And look, I'm an immigrant. I know the desperation that it takes to leave your country. Amongst immigrants in particular, there is no doubt that we want anybody who had the opportunity to come to this great country and committed a crime, we want them punished, we want them deported to the fullest extent of the law. But a lot of good, hardworking people who are in our schools, who are our colleagues, who own houses and businesses here, who are the parents of U.S. citizen children, are getting caught up in this.
All right, good people, welcome to my space. Let's talk about this because it needs to be said. Latinos are now desperately crying for unity with Black Americans. I've seen the headlines, I've seen the clips, and honestly, I've got something to get off my chest. So before that, let's watch these clips.
The place that I go to, it's about an hour away from my house. And they're closed and I have to reschedule. I don't want to cry anymore. I'm tired of hurting. But this has affected so much of my mental health. And I don't want to be weak and cry about it, but sometimes I hold everything and this happens and I don't have anyone to really talk about it because I feel like I talk about it so much. I talk about it so much to the point where I feel like I'm repeating myself. So I'm just frustrated because the office is closed because of mourning for Jimmy Carter, which we mourn for him, but I just wish I had an email or something because I just show up to basically another closed door temporarily again. And I'm having to reschedule and figure out how I'm gonna do another half month without the security of my life right now. And and then we're gonna get a snowstorm. So it's just like, when can I catch a break? And so, for any of you who have friends or family, or even coworkers who have DACA or under DACA, please check in on them, because sometimes it can be really hard and we tend to internalize a lot of our feelings. And be very supportive towards them, because they always have to do above and beyond. And we're grateful, but we always have to go above and beyond. And we're never enough for one place or another, so it feels very lonely. But yeah.
This is so crazy that we voted for Trump.
I know y'all remember her well.
Quote unquote saying that this is not your battle. What do you mean this is not your battle? First of all, we're not asking for help. Let's get that straight. Second of all, if you want to stand for your rights, then this is your fight too. We are sick and tired that people are attacking each other, and y'all want to make yourself really known. This is the problem now. Whenever Mexican and Latinos get together, we know how to come together and fight. But what do y'all do? Y'all go against each other.
This is the same person who didn't come together with her own undocumented grandparents and voted to have ICE deport them. And yeah, you had to learn how to protest real quick to try to get yourself out of the mess you created after you not only stabbed the Black community in the back on November 5th, but when you stabbed yourself, your family, and your own community in the back.
We know how to protest the right way.
Here comes the anti-Black, white-pleasing rhetoric.
We don't break into stores. We don't do all this, this demolish stuff. We don't do none of that.
First of all, yes, y'all do, because we're watching it in LA right now. Secondly, by any means necessary, telling us to protest the right way is gaslighting by the ruling class. It's a racist talking point mostly weaponized against Black people. This Hispanic woman still seeks validation and acceptance from the white ruling class. She is submissive to them and will protest only in ways that the people oppressing her deem acceptable. No form of protest is acceptable to them, by the way. I hear so many Hispanics pitting themselves against each other, criticizing protesters in LA for what they perceive as protesting violently. So again, you don't stick together. Protesters in LA are dealing with antagonistic National Guard and U.S. Marines. No one else in the country is dealing with what the protesters in LA are dealing with, and I support LA.
It's kind of hurtful for y'all to say different things like, oh, we don't need Latino, we don't need no Mexican, we don't need this, we better without them. Fine.
You don't get to sit here and cry because you backstabbed Black people on November 5th and now Black people don't want to support you.
And we forgive you. You know that? Because that's how good we are. We have good hearts. We help other people.
You got a good heart? Is that why you voted to send ICE after your own grandparents and your neighbors? Is that your version of helping?
But for y'all to sit there and say, take your asses back to where y'all came from.
If some Black people are saying that, those are words, because on November 5th, Black people voted to keep you and your community safe. Did you vote to keep your own community safe? No, you didn't. You voted for ICE to attack your community and come pick up your own grandparents to send them back. Hispanics like you damage unity between brown and Black people. There is no accountability for the destruction you did to yourself and your own people. There is no accountability for your anti-Blackness, which has contributed to all of us as a people and as a country now losing our rights and our democracy. And you have the audacity to be mad that Black people do not want to stand with you, especially when there are some of you out there protesting using the N-word.
I put my dick on your plate, nigga. Fuck your family, fuck your kids, nigga.
That nigga right there.
Do you go to Kava?
His fucking mom. Yeah, you do, nigga. Stop paying.
How can you lack so much compassion? What if your mom, your dad, was immediately just taken from you as a white person, as a Black person, as anyone? How can you just accept that? This is not, fuck, bro. This is so unreal, and how can people just lack compassion? How? Why can't you just imagine yourself just waking up one day with your family not there anymore? So LA businesses are getting raided by ICE, or some people that are wearing stuff that says ICE on it with their faces all covered up. People are getting ran over. Shots are being literally fired, literally. And this is supposed to be life right now. We're not gonna get treated like humans because they don't see us like humans. They lack compassion. How can you lack compassion? How? I understand that you're trying to get criminals out. Why are you going to workplaces where people are just trying to work? That doesn't make sense.
I've seen a lot of discourse online about, the Latinos for Trump, the going back and forth between the Latinos and the blacks. And I will say this, right? Where was y'all antennas when we was in that booth? When we was in that voting booth and we was telling y'all, because we did our research. We read, not all of us, but we read the Project 2025. I skimmed it, right? Read it most in its entirety, took the cliff notes, but this was literally in there. Him saying, we're going to militarize ICE. Like, that was in there. So while everybody was Latinos for Trump and we're gonna vote for Trump, y'all fucked around and you found out, right? And then now here we are, supposed to join arms, join in forces on the front line. Baby, we was on the front line at that voting booth. If you scroll back to November on my page, y'all, I'm literally crying crocodile tears, baby, after I voted for Kamala, right? And I'm like, okay, we're gonna do the right thing. That was literally one of the most heartbreaking things to watch. I stayed up. I was in my house crying real tears because there is no way that y'all knew what was gonna happen, or maybe not to this magnitude. Maybe you wasn't expecting it, but now look at you. And y'all want us to come out of the comfort of our home. As y'all can see, we've been line dancing, booting and scooting, minding our business. A couple of us done learned how to pick up that, that fire. I've been at the gun range myself, trying to make sure that we're prepared. So should something kick off, we know what we need to do. But now we got to stop what we doing to come help. Is you cool? I ain't got nothing for you. Nothing. Thoughts and prayers. Sorrows. What did Trump say? I have concepts of a plan. Concepts. So yeah. God bless you. Good luck.
The tension between the Black and Latino community needs to stop. And we need to be the generation to stop it. Anti-Blackness exists in our community. We know this. Anti-Blackness also exists within the Black community itself. All communities of color struggle with this. And the reason why is what we all have in common. We were all colonized and trained to have a mindset of you versus me for survival. But that ends with us. We need to lead with unity and not division. We have to be the change we want to see. We have to stop pointing the finger in both communities and make the decision that we are going to choose to be united versus divided. I'm not going to pretend like I have all the answers, but here are examples of how you can show up differently and be the change you want to see. Number 1, share stories of solidarity. Share stories of love. Share stories of when you have experienced the Black or Latino community showing up in your spaces. We need to shift the narrative. Number 2, if your reality is division between the Black and Latino community and your goal is unity, then it is up to you to seek out examples of when the Latino and Black communities show up for one another, where they show love, where there is actual solidarity, because guess what? It exists. And if you need a place to start with me. I am happy to be a part of your network of Latinos who have nothing but love for our Black sisters and brothers. Number 3, ask your neighbors how you can be helpful. You need to lead with your heart in this moment. That is the only way that we are going to experience an actual shift. We have to show up as human beings. We have to show up vulnerable. We have to show up as the change that we want to see. Lastly, ask others to join you. Let's actually start in the comments. Share your stories of solidarity and love. If members of the Latino and Black community have a hard time seeing it, let's show them how it's actually done.
Seen some video this weekend of Latinos who voted for Trump crying because now their abuelas and their tios are getting deported.
Right.
I'm having a very hard time mustering up any sympathy for those people.
Yeah.
And look, I'm an immigrant. I know the desperation that it takes to leave your country. Amongst immigrants in particular, there is no doubt that we want anybody who had the opportunity to come to this great country and committed a crime, we want them punished, we want them deported to the fullest extent of the law. But a lot of good, hardworking people who are in our schools, who are our colleagues, who own houses and businesses here, who are the parents of U.S. citizen children, are getting caught up in this. Because it's been reported that ICE offices all over the country have been given a quota. There is no way they meet that quota just with criminal aliens. And let me just say, I think that what he's done with the military, in addition to the legal aspects that may be involved, has a lot to do with a publicity stunt. The point is cruelty. The point is instilling fear. But it's also very costly. A charter DHS flight, it's been reported, is something like $8,500. A military C-130 is $816,000. So each one of those planes is costing us, so that he can have his picture and his photo op, 100 times more what a charter flight would be. And I have been saying for 2 months that people need to get prepared, because he said this was coming and he's living up to that.
Yes.
Bravo, bravo. That's what they look at Black people as, the help. Not as allyship, just disposable help. Someone that they could put in front of them as a shield. And that's why a lot of these white Cubans left Cuba. It's not necessarily because of politics or ideology. It's because of racial equality. Before the Cuban Revolution, they used to discriminate against Black Cubans. It was legal. Black Cubans didn't have access to healthcare or education, and they lived in poorer conditions where they served the white Cubans. After the Cuban Revolution, all that changed. They start promoting racial equality. Black Cubans start having access to healthcare, access to education. And a lot of white Cubans, that made them feel uncomfortable. They were used to the old Cuba, where they had an upper advantage on the Black Cubans. They're not going to bring this information up freely. That's why when she says save us, servitude, you're nothing but the help, disposable help. Make my white Cuban life a little bit easier and comfortable, since our white savior, Trump, is deporting us.
It's a call to my Latin American community to support the African American community. For generations, secret agendas external to our communities have kept us apart. Now is the time to come together. Let's stand with our African Americans brothers and sisters in their demand for justice, human rights, and protection against hate crimes. If we unite our strength in numbers, together we can stop the effects of discrimination. Let's vote together. This is the time for us to make them feel that we are with them in their pain and grief.
Welcome back. Black people in this country have been screaming, bleeding, dying for unity for over 400 years. From the plantations to the Civil War to the Civil Rights Movement, Blacks have been fighting to hold America to its own words: freedom, liberty, and justice for all. Blacks fought in every war: Revolutionary Wars, Civil War, World Wars. Blacks put their bodies on the line for a country that didn't even see them as fully human. And through it all, They kept fighting for unity, not just for black folks, but for everyone who was oppressed, including the Mexicans, Indian, etc. But here's the thing, a lot of people don't wanna say out loud. While black folks were fighting to be recognized as human beings, Latinos, especially many who could pass, were told, you can be white, just don't be black. And a lot of folks took that deal. Assimilate, blend in, chase the whiteness, pretended the struggle wasn't theirs, stood on the sidelines when blacks marched, when blacks protested, when blacks got beat down in the street. But now, Trump and all his folks you thought you could cozy up to are now turning their backs on you, deporting you, locking your kids in cages, telling you you'll never be one of them. Now suddenly, the cry for unity is real among the Latinos, crying for blacks to help them. Now it's black and brown unity. Now it's we need to stick together. And listen, I'm not saying we shouldn't unite. I believe in unity. I believe in solidarity. But we gotta be honest how we got here. Please just enjoy the consequences for God's sake. Unity is not a costume you put on when it benefits you. It's not just showing up when you are in trouble. It's standing together when it's us in trouble too. Where were you when George Floyd was unalived? When blacks marched for Breonna Taylor? When blacks fought voter suppression? You were there but silent because the struggle was not yours. So, if you are gonna talk about unity, let's talk real unity. That means fighting anti-blackness in your communities. That means standing up when ICE shows up in black immigrants' neighborhood too. That means showing up at the polls, at the protests, at the school board meetings for all of us. But for now, blacks are still in vacation. We shall resume back. If you are ready to really unite, we got your back. However, you better be real this time. A real soldier dies in the battle. Alright, I'm gonna leave it right there. Hit that like button, subscribe, and drop your comments. Let's talk about it. This is Mercy Realities.